All right, so first up on our schedule is Turning Point. So I'm going to present first for Turning Point. Hi everyone, my name is Abby Hoffmann. I'm the Outpatient Therapy Coordinator at Turning Point Behavioral Health Care Center located in Skokie. We provide a variety of outpatient mental health services. We're located at on Skokie Boulevard, just south of Main Street. During COVID and the pandemic, however, we've been providing all of our services virtually or remotely, either over the phone or over video. So technically, when our building is open and we are providing services in person, our hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Fridays. Right now, our physical building is open and we have some of our receptionists and support staff working there during the day. So if you're calling our office during the hours of about 8 to 2, someone should be able to answer the phone and direct your phone call if, depending on the reason you're calling. If it's later in the day, you'll be able to leave a voicemail and someone will get back to you the next day. So Turning Point serves residents all over the Chicagoland area. We don't have a catchment area. So if, depending on where someone lives, if they're willing to travel to us when we're providing services in person, we can serve them. We accept all kinds of insurances. So we accept almost all forms of Medicaid and managed care plans. We also accept Blue Cross, Blue Shield, PPO, private insurance. As of right now, we're not able to accept new clients who have Medicare only insurance. But if they have a supplement or another form of insurance, we can serve them. We also have a sliding scale fee that people can pay out of pocket as well if they're uninsured. We also, so we serve people ages 5 years old and older adults. So we see broad range of, serve a broad range of age ranges. So our services include therapy for individuals, for couples, and for families. We also have group therapy. We have case management services. We also have crisis services and a small residential program. So I'm going to go into a little more detail about those things. We currently do not provide psychiatric services at Turning Point. However, if someone is coming to Turning Point for those services, we have a relationship with Heartland Healthcare Center, which is actually located in our building. So we refer them to Heartland for psychiatric care. So as I was saying, we provide outpatient therapy for adults and kids. Also for adults, we provide case management services. So we have a team of staff who work with adults and helping them get linked to various resources and obtain funding for things and entitlements. We also have 2 group therapy programs. One is our PSR program, or psychosocial rehabilitation program. And this is similar to what people have thought of as a day center. So we have groups running from 9 a.m. to about 2 or 3 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. And those groups are really focused on skill building, helping people learn independent living skills for them to be living independently in their life. And then we also have a separate outpatient group therapy program that has a handful of groups that we offer for adults who might be able to have a little bit more, that are not necessarily skill building, they're a little more process oriented groups. And those can be held at any time of the day, just depends on the group. If adults would like to join a group but not receive any other services at Turning Point, they can do so. They would still follow our same intake process to do that, though. We also have currently we're recruiting to start one child and adolescent therapy group, which is focused on, it's more of a process group focused on identity work. And it's primarily focused at teens, so high school aged kids. So if anyone is interested in joining that group as well, they can follow our intake process to join that. As I also mentioned before, we also have a small residential program. So this is actually a transitional living program, and it's meant to be temporary, just a few years. And it's meant to help individuals move towards living independently. So they may, oftentimes we have people who were living in a nursing home or living with family, and now they're living in our residential program to help them eventually live on their own. So there's a few requirements for people to be in this small residential program. So they have to be adults, they have to have some form of Medicaid, and they have to have either disability or Social Security income of some kind. And they also need to be sober for at least 1 year. And they also need to be, their goals need to be to live independently and work towards that. And then we have two forms of crisis services at Turning Point as well. So one is our 24/7 crisis phone line. So anyone in the community can use our crisis phone line at any time for free if they're experiencing some sort of psychiatric crisis. They can call Turning Point's main number, and if you listen to the greeting, you can follow the prompts to speak to a crisis worker over the phone. If our second crisis program is called our Living Room program, and that serves adults and anyone in the community for free. And this is meant to be an in-person alternative to a psychiatric hospitalization. So if an adult is in a crisis and they want to speak to someone and not go to the hospital, they can typically they could physically go in person to our building and speak to our living room workers, one of which is a mental health care therapist. And then we have peer counselors or recovery support specialists who work with the person and they themselves identify as in recovery from a mental illness. Right now, during the pandemic and COVID, we're providing the living room services virtually. So if people want to just talk over the phone, they can, but they can also use video for that as well. We also have kind of similar under our crisis umbrella is, so we are the CCBYS holder for Niles Township. CCBYS stands for Community, Comprehensive Community-Based Youth Services. So what this involves is if at any point youth in the Niles Township community is either locked out of their house or they've run away from home and they've come into police contact, the police contact our team at Turning Point, and we go out to wherever they are in the community and meet with them, assess the situation, and the goal is to try to reunify the parents and the child, but if not, we find them alternative plans. Another offshoot of this CCBYS program is instead of crisis, on-call crisis services, we can also provide free limited therapy sessions for certain clients who meet certain criteria for this program. So some of the criteria involved in that is the youth has to be under 18, and they also have to be at risk of being involved in the JCFS system. So they might have had experience with the juvenile justice system, they might have run away from home, they might have gotten locked out, things like that. So if anyone, any youth that you're working with would qualify or fit, you're thinking they might, and you want to ask about it, you can always reach out to me, and we can do a short little screening, and then we would reach out to the family to engage them in services for free. So in terms of referring clients for any of our services at Turning Point, they can call the Turning Point main phone number. And typically in person, what we would be doing is we have open access intake hours. Open access is our intake program. And open access, it has scheduled hours Monday through Thursday where people can just walk in at any time, and they meet with someone on our billing team to go over insurance and fees and consents. And then they immediately see a therapist after that who completes an assessment with them. And the goal is that they would be their ongoing therapist, so there's a limited wait. Right now, during COVID, we're not doing in-person assessments, so we're just doing the same process, but over the phone. So anyone can call the Turning Point main phone number and then listen to the greeting. You'll actually be pressing 0 to ask to start services. And the phone number is 847-933-0051. Yeah, so that's Turning Point. Does anyone have any questions? Does case management program help adults with financial needs looking for affordable housing? Yes, they do. Mm-hmm. Is there a wait list? There might, right now, I think there might be a short wait list for our case management services. For our therapy services and all of our other services, there is a small wait. I don't exactly know how long it is right now. So when people come through our open access intake program, ideally they're assigned to, they continue working with the therapists that they do the assessment with, but sometimes there are circumstances in which that can't happen. And then those people get placed on a wait list. So there is a small wait list, but ideally people aren't waiting long. Any other questions for Turning Point? Right now, we're doing open access virtually. So people can call anytime between like 8 and I think 2, and someone will call them back that same day. If it's after, I think 2 p.m., someone will call them back the next day. Once we return to providing services in person, there are open access hours Monday through Thursday at various times. It changes depending on the day. And the hours are listed on our website as well. And I'll also be sending out a brochure electronically after the event. Any other questions? Okay. So next up on the schedule is the Institute for Therapy Through the Arts, and Akash Bhatia is going to present. I'll unmute you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Akash Bhatia, and I am a music therapist and licensed professional counselor, as well as the intake coordinator at Institute for Therapy Through the Arts. Thank you, Abby, for organizing this, and I'm sad that I can't see all of you in person like we did last year, but I'm happy to talk about what we're doing at ITA, both in person and virtually. For those of you who don't know what ITA is, we are a nonprofit organization located in Evanston, and we serve the northern Chicago city area, as well as the northern suburbs. We have community partnerships where we work in the schools, in adult day facilities, nursing homes, and other like treatment centers. And we also have a private therapy department, and I'll talk more about private therapy today. We've been providing, prior to March, we've been doing services in person for the most part, very minimal telehealth. And since March, it's kind of, we've had a huge increase in telehealth services. And now we're slowly kind of like reopening and seeing people in person. So both options are available for new clients and current clients. I'll also just speak a little bit about the creative arts therapies for those who may not know what they are. So the creative arts therapies that we have at ITA are music, dance movement, drama, and art therapy. And we use those treatment approaches and treatment modalities to treat various difficulties, disorders, and conditions. We work with all ages from as young as 2 or 3 to as old as 100 plus. We help people with managing their symptoms of depression, anxiety, or post-traumatic symptoms. We help people gain or regain skills that might be impacted by a neurodevelopmental condition or a traumatic brain injury. We help ameliorate symptoms of dementia or Alzheimer's. We do this through individual therapy, group therapy, and family therapy. The process to begin services at ITA will be to schedule an intake session with me, and I'll be sharing my screen in a few minutes. So you'll see some phone numbers and an email address. But you can contact us to schedule the intake, and I'll meet with you virtually or in person and determine what type of therapy would be the best for you. It's an interactive session, so you get to try the different arts. And if you want to learn more just about ITA in general, we have information on our website, including videos, and we have an open house every year. So this year it will be virtual, I believe like later in the fall this year. So you can tune in probably on Facebook or on our website to see our virtual open house. I'm now going to share my screen so you can see some of the groups and services that I wanted to share. These will also be shared. I think Abby will share them after the presentation as well. The first one I wanted to talk about is our CBT-DBT Creative Arts Therapy group. CBT and DBT are therapy skills that are often taught in treatment programs in individual and group therapy. At ITA, we are known for using the arts to teach these skills, and we've had these ongoing groups for the last couple of years. We are now currently doing these groups virtually, so our adult group is running right now virtually, and any adult who wants to join at any point can contact me, they can join the group. And our pre-adolescent and adolescent groups are just about to start. And we're also exploring an in-person option as well for some of the adolescents who would prefer that option as well. The objective of this group is to learn new skills of managing anxiety, mood, any sort of stressors that are happening right now through art and drama experiences. And it's facilitated by two of our clinical interns and a clinician who are trained in art and drama therapy. It could be an 8-week group if you want to just do 8 sessions. We found that people like to stay on after 8 weeks, so they kind of cycle through different skills and learn them in different ways if you want to stay on after 8 weeks. The pricing is on this flyer, and so it's $36 per session or 8 sessions for $240, and we accept Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO and Blue Choice PPO. This will be on Monday evenings. The next one I wanted to talk about was a support group, so a little bit different than a therapy group, and we're gearing this toward ages 7 to 10 and 11 to 14. And it's a support group because we understand that just living in a pandemic is extremely stressful, and being in school, hybrid learning, remote learning, or in-person all pose stressors in different ways. So we would like to offer this space to young people, and using drama and the arts to find support in one another and process kind of what's going on, and just kind of feel better in an in-person environment. So we can do this outside, or if the weather turns to not be so great in the next few weeks, we can explore like an safe inside option as well. And I'll just quickly talk about our upcoming conference, which will also be virtual in March. So this is geared more toward professionals. You don't have to be a creative arts therapist to attend, but if you're just interested in learning about the creative arts therapies, or if you are a creative arts therapist to just learn some new skills and to delve deeper into some topics, I suggest you register for our conference. That will registration will open up in January, and the conference will be in March. And I'll just keep this slide up as I kind of make a few more points about ITA and how to get started with our services. So you can reach us at any of these links or emails. A little bit more about payment. So if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or Blue Choice PPO, then we are in network. So your benefits will apply to our services, and we're able to help verify that with you. You can also pay out of pocket and seek out-of-network reimbursement if you don't have Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or Blue Choice PPO. We also have a financial aid program that is income-based and sliding scale. So that means you would apply for this financial aid program, and we'll adjust our fees to meet your needs just based on your income and household size. We have always had a financial aid program, but since March, we realized that there's a huge need for financial assistance. So we have made our financial aid awards more generous since March, and we're thankfully able to continue that through the rest of our calendar year, thanks to our donors and supporters. Our telehealth services are primarily done through Zoom or Theranest, so it's done through secure platform to ensure privacy, and our in-person services are all done with complying with CDC guidelines. So we require that all visitors, so all therapists, staff, visitors, and clients and families enter our building while wearing masks and keeping those on for the entire time they're in the building and in session. We require hand washing and suggest regular hand washing just like while you're in the building, and we try as best we can to ensure 6 feet distance between ourselves and our clients and families that we service to make sure we're all being safe. I'm happy to answer any questions about those precautions. It seems to be working pretty well so far with the clients that are choosing to come in person. And that's all I have. I'm happy to answer questions if there are any. Well, thank you for listening, and I'll be around for a few more minutes if there's questions later.
Thank you, Akash. All right. Next up is supposed to be Teri Queen, who is going to talk about NTDSE, or the Niles Township District for Special Education, as well as the clothing closet. However, she let me know this morning that she woke up feeling very sick, so she's not able to be here today. So I don't know, is there anyone from NTDSE here that would feel comfortable speaking about what you do? If not, that's okay. Okay. Well, so one thing she was going to talk about was the local clothing closet. So I believe they're still providing, they're still open during COVID and the pandemic. So this is a service for anyone in the community to be referred to if they're in need of basic clothing, especially as we're getting into the winter months. They have a lot of winter clothing that's great. Everything is donated and washed and cleaned. And they have a large variety of clothing. They have an amazing assortment of clothes. So if anyone is in need of clothing this winter or at any time, please send them to the clothing closet. I am going to share my screen and just show you a little bit of the flyer that she's going to send out for the clothing closet. So it's located at St. Paul Lutheran Church. So what you'll be doing is, if you know of a family in need, you'll be helping them fill out a referral request form and then sending it over to the church. And that'll also be included in my emails, the referral form. And then you'll have to schedule a time for them to go in person to the church to pick out clothes and whatever they need. Does anyone have questions about the clothing closet? It's a great resource. Are they accepting donations? I believe so. Sometimes they're in need of particular clothing items more than others, but yes, I believe they're always taking donations. And also, they have like socks and underwear that they don't get donated, but they have some money set aside to purchase some of those. Oh, got it. Due to COVID. I'm not 100% sure about that. I can ask Teri and maybe she can let us know if they're accepting donations right now with COVID or not. Okay. So it looks like they're not right now. Thanks for answering that. Any other questions? All right. So next up is Mary Elston with Metropolitan Family Services. Mary, you're unmuted. Oh, Mary, we can't hear you. Mm-mm. Mary, you said you're going to call in? Okay. Yes.
I just have a suggestion, Mary. This is Maria from Niles Family Services. If you log off and log back on, and when you select, do the, what is it, the over connection, or it's allowing you to be able to use your speaker. So when you logged in, you probably didn't select the correct one. So it's not allowing you to be able to speak. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Yeah, how about we move to the next person and then we'll come back to you, Mary. Okay. All right, so up next is Gary Arnold with Progress Center for Independent Living. Is Gary here? Oh, yes, there he is.
Hi, can I be heard by people?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Gary Arnold. I am with an organization called Progress Center for Independent Living. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity today to speak to this group. I'm going to give just a short amount of background around Progress Center and then talk about a specific program. Am I able to share my screen? Do people see this?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So Progress Center is what's called a Center for Independent Living. There are 22 of those around the state of Illinois, and each one is assigned a different geographic area to cover. And Progress Center serves all of suburban Cook County. Though on paper we serve all of suburban Cook County, we've got two offices, one based in Forest Park, which is a near western suburb, and one in Blue Island, which is a southwestern suburb. And with 20 staff between the two offices, it is a kind of a struggle to cover all of suburban Cook County, and as a result, most of our work and most of the consumers with whom we work are in the areas near the offices. Nevertheless, though, we do want to do outreach and make sure people are aware of our services, especially now when the work that we're doing is remote work, and hopefully others can have the opportunity to access it. One thing that is unique about Progress Center is that we're required by the Rehabilitation Act, which is I think 1973 or 1974. All centers get some funding out of the Rehabilitation Act, and through that funding, there's this requirement that all centers for independent living be staffed and governed by a majority of people with disabilities. So the idea is that we're kind of following this philosophy of people with disabilities making decisions about their own lives and being a part of decisions that really impact them. And so to reinforce that there is this mandate that the majority of people who work at independent living centers are disabled, as well as the majority of the board of directors for independent living centers are disabled. Each center for independent living is going to be a little bit different depending on the area that it serves and depending on its networks and funding streams. But each one is required to develop programs around these 5 core services, which are information referral, independent living skills development, advocacy, peer support, and transition services. And within transition services, it's looking at both transition services for young people with disabilities as they're moving out of the secondary school systems and moving into college or into employment, and also transition of people with disabilities out of institutions such as nursing homes or other congregate care settings and into their own apartments or other homes in more independent settings. The specific program that I wanted to talk about today, focus on, is our program for young people with disabilities who are now in schools, in high school or perhaps middle school. We have a contract with the state of Illinois, delivers services for what is called the Fast Track program. And the print on the right there, the slide is super tiny. So, I can share these flyers at another time. I'm sorry about the print there. But it just gives a little overview of the Fast Track program. And what it is basically centers for independent living, such as Progress Center, delivering different services that are designed to prepare young people to make that transition. So those different services include self-advocacy, job exploration, college exploration, job preparation, and on-the-job work experience. And this slide, the next slide here, just has a few bullet points under each of those different 5 modules within the Fast Track transition program. What we found, we've been doing the program for 2 years now. The first year was spent really just doing a lot of outreach in the suburban Cook County area, outreach to the schools to try to generate interest and identify students who would be interested and would benefit from the program and who are eligible for the program. What we found is eligibility. That's kind of the most difficult piece, because this program it's a contract with the state of Illinois' vocational rehabilitation program. And one criteria for eligibility is that the students who enroll in Fast Track not yet have a file open with the Department of Rehab Services. And a lot of schools across suburban Cook County have STEP programs or transition programs already through the Department of Rehabilitation Services. And as a result, those students already have a file open. And as a result, they are not eligible for our Fast Track program. But what we found, where we have been able to find a niche, is with the kind of the younger students, maybe students who have not yet transitioned into high school, or students who are in the early stages of high school and maybe haven't begun yet a program like STEP or another transition program. And so what we found is like really kind of working with schools and working with the younger students, and really focusing on our introduction to self-advocacy module. Because that offers something that some of the STEP programs and other transitions programs in the schools might not yet be offering. And it really covers kind of like the history of disability, history of what we call the disability rights and independent living movement, and really tries to give this background and information to the students, so that the students begin to be comfortable, get more comfortable around the idea of identifying as a person with a disability. And kind of once they start to embrace some of that identity, it gets a lot easier to kind of speak up for yourself as a person with a disability, and make requests for accommodations, and play a more active role in maybe 504 meetings or individualized education plan meetings. And that's, you know, not difficult, not easy. Just speaking from my own experience, you know, in high school, identifying as someone with a disability was something I was not ready for, and it was really difficult to ask for things that might have been helpful for me. So that's what this module really tries to get at, is creating this environment where people become more comfortable with disability and start to develop these tools that will be helpful when asking for accommodations and requesting accommodations, or advocating for accommodations. So that is kind of the program in a brief overview. And so we're just wanted to present here today to just for people to be on the lookout. If you're working with young people who might be interested in something like this, who are not already a part of their schools transition programs, or maybe are a part of it, but they haven't yet opened up a file, a DRS file with the state of Illinois, you know, please feel free to refer them and their families to us, and we can talk with them more about the program and see if it's a fit and if they're interested in it. One other thing I just wanted to mention briefly is that we have twice a month, we have these youth fun nights, and anyone is welcome to join these, whether you're enrolled in the fast track program or not. It's to the first and third Tuesday of every month. A group is meeting virtually over Zoom, and doing different activities and just sharing stories and sharing experiences, and talking as a group. And then real quick, I have a slide about eligibility for the fast track program. It's for young students between the ages of 14 to 21. Other requirements are you must be enrolled in some sort of academic program. You must show proof of disability. Typically, we do that through a 504 plan or an IEP. And again, to repeat, only people who don't yet have a file open with vocational rehabilitation are eligible for the program. And this is contact information for our two people who work one-on-one and in group settings with the students. We've got two staff working on it now, and this is their email. And again, I can share this PowerPoint with the group also. But that's my presentation. I hope I kept it within the 10 minutes, but if there's any time, I can take any questions if anyone has questions.
Gary, it looks like someone asked, is the youth transition program only for those with disability as well?
Yeah, there must be. It is specifically for people with disabilities, and unlike our other programs, for the fast track program, you have to show some kind of verification of disability. If the question there actually wasn't about fast track, but for the other group, if there's others who are interested in joining the fun night, you know, that and their allies or supporters or siblings or other types of relationships of people with disabilities, and they would have benefit by joining, you know, yeah, those people are welcome as well.
Any other questions for Gary? All right. Well, thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. Thanks very much, everyone.
All right. Let's see if we can try this again, Mary. I will unmute you. There you go. Okay. I'll unmute your phone. Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I'm gonna have to mute my computer. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I apologize. So good morning, everyone. I'm Mary. I am a behavioral health therapist at Metropolitan Family Services in Skokie. We have a number of locations throughout the Chicagoland area, but I am going to be focusing specifically on the Evanston, Skokie locations, and talking about our programs, what we have to offer. Our Skokie location is 5210 Main Street, and our Evanston location, I believe, is 820 Davis in Evanston. I would double check that though, because I'm mostly based in the Skokie address, so that one's kind of just, you know, memorized off the top of my head. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the programs and services that we offer. So we have an adoption support and preservation program. So what this does is it provides home-based interventions to families, and it's formed through our adoption or subsidized guardianship. We offer counseling, crisis intervention, and 24-hour on-call assistance to help adjust, or to help with adjusting to the adoption environment, grief or loss resolution, attachment. We focus on education and emotional issues. This is also a DCFS supported program, and we provide therapy services, psychoeducation and support groups, workshops, and other services, which include case management. So providing those resources that those families might need. We also have adult protective services, which is a program that investigates reports of abuse. And those reports that come into us are taken live. So reports of abuse, neglect, or exploitation of seniors ages 16 and older, as well as adults with disabilities. And when abuse is substantiated, interventions are planned with the victim, with the family, and others to reduce risk of further harm. We also have our behavioral health program, which promotes psychological, social, and emotional development through individual and family counseling. And we also link our clients that require psychiatric services, but we do not provide psychiatric services at our location. So we also have a general counseling program, and we work with the court for referrals that are coming in where students might be referred for truancy or other behavioral issues. So we work directly with the schools and deans and guidance counselors and whatnot to provide any types of services that we can in that sense of case management or counseling. You know, we provide services for all ages and building on individual and family strengths. And so again, that is offered to both Evanston and Skokie. And another program that's really great that we have is a program that's based out of our Evanston location, which is entirely free for Evanston residents. So it is case management and counseling. So if they are living in Evanston, have an Evanston residence, this service is free for them. So it's called Family Support and Prevention, and it helps families develop the tools that they need to effectively, you know, parent their children and enhance family functioning. So again, it would be for parents or children. So it would be like if someone was coming in and didn't have any children, this program wouldn't be for them. So again, it's family-based. And services include counseling, case management. We do offer home-based, you know, programs as far as providing home visits. But at this time with the pandemic, we have kind of put that on hold due to the crisis of the pandemic and trying to keep families safe as well as ourselves. And then we also have a substance abuse prevention program, and it includes prevention education in partnerships with middle schools. So we have this in Chicago as well as our Skokie location. We've partnered with Lincoln Junior High, and it's to provide youth empowerment and resistance skills. The program also gives youth the opportunity to build leadership skills by participating in neighborhood data collection, drug prevention. We also have communication campaigns that go up throughout the year around our service area, and we have drug take-back days or events. The program further services our communities by promoting the Illinois Youth Survey to capture drug and alcohol data. And the overall goal is to reduce the use and also educate youth in our community on the importance of, you know, the use of drugs, safely using them, and if they're not yours, to you know, be smart about disposing them in the correct way, right? So not just flushing them down the toilet. Okay, so overall, I would say that is the services that we offer in a nutshell. We do take Medicaid and all the Medicaid managed care plans, including County Care, Meridian, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. We also take Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO and Medicare, though that is with limited capacity. I believe we don't have any wait lists for our adoption preservation or our family support and prevention programs, but I do believe that we have a wait list for our behavioral health program at this time. I think that's about it. That was definitely a lot. Are there any questions with regards to all that information I just kind of spilled on you guys? So does your case management program support families with financial needs looking for affordable housing? So the way that we would support them is getting them connected to resources in our community that would be helpful. But I don't believe at this time we have any resources ourselves to provide. I would have to just double check that, and if there's anything that is of news to me, I can send that out to Abby, who can send that out to the LAN. Would that be okay, Abby?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. I think that's about it. Okay, and then I have a couple of other flyers I can always send out through the chat, but I think I sent one to Abby earlier. Oh, it says the program that is free to residents of Evanston is to young moms such as teens pregnancy. Yeah, I mean, I would say so. Yes. And you can always call our number. I don't know if I provided our number, 847-425-7500. Yes, so these programs are essentially to help parents with children that are youth age, I would say. So, you know, elementary, middle, high school. But I would say we probably would be able to serve a teen that is pregnant. I would say so, yes.
And Mary,
are you the person we email if we have any additional questions? Yes, you can totally email me. I can actually include my email below. Yep. Okay. Yeah, no problem. I think that, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. If you want to send me an email, I can try to get someone in contact with you. You can give me kind of what types of information you're looking for, and I will definitely send that to you. So a lot of us are working out of the office, and there was something going on with our phones as well, changes with our service provider. So that has also been, you know, a bit of a, you know, obstacle in our way. But I will definitely make sure that someone gets back to you. All right, that's about it.
thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Carolyn with the Childcare Network of Evanston. You are unmuted.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I'm actually here with Deepa Mehta, who's our Director of Programs, and she's going to get us started this morning. She may need to be unmuted as well.
Thank you. Sorry, I was like, I can't unmute myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Deepa Mehta. I'm the Director of Programs and Head Start for Childcare Network of Evanston. Carolyn and I work together there. I wanted just to start off by letting you know what programs we have to offer and you know what we're currently accepting applications and enrollment for, and how we're doing things a bit differently as everyone is. So we are mostly Head Start, early Head Start funded, so federal funding, and those are the programs that I'm going to talk about today, as that's what we're currently enrolling for. So within our Head Start and early Head Start programs, we have three program options, which are home visiting, center-based, full day, full year, and family childcare, full day, full year. Our center-based and family childcare programs are all DCFS licensed, or some of the sites have additional accreditation as well. And currently the center-based and family childcare programs did, one of them opened in June, the other one opened in July, and then our family childcare just opened in September. So we partner with three programs. Two of the Head Start classrooms are run by the McGaw YWCA at the Family Focus building. There's 2 Head Start classrooms in there. Due to normally we would have 34 funded children we could enroll, but due to the DCFS new ratio requirements, we are only allowed to enroll 30. So currently, Carolyn, hopefully you can go over the open slots and I don't remember them off the top of my head. And then at Swift Childcare in Skokie is another partner. We have 2 early Head Start classrooms, which it's an infant and toddler classroom, and there's 16 total funded slots there. And then they have 1 Head Start classroom, which also has 16 Head Start kids in there. And we are able to enroll fully in that program. And And our family childcare program has 6 early Head Start slots, which is, sorry, I should have mentioned early Head Start is birth to 5 and Head Start is 3 to 5. And then our home visiting program has the biggest change. We do serve birth to 5 there and pregnant moms. Normally we would be doing an actual home visit once a week for 90 minutes. Obviously we are not doing that, and we are doing everything virtually. And the visits are minimum 30 to 45 minutes now. And it will be there. We're trying to do video calls as much as possible via Zoom, Skype, whatever the family is comfortable with. Or we're doing email, we're doing text, we're doing phone call, however we can engage the family, we're engaging them. In the home visiting program, in terms of curriculum for all of our programs, we're using Parents as Teachers for home visiting, which is a parenting curriculum. The whole goal of that program is to really empower parents to be their child's first teacher. And then on top of that education piece for the parent, it's, you know, in turn educating the child, but also providing case management and just referrals and resources, and just supporting the whole family as best as the home visitor can with the resources that we have. And then we are in the center-based and family childcare programs. The curriculum we use is creative curriculum. And then each of those locations have a family support specialist assigned to them. Shelby's actually on our call today. So Shelby Montague is a family support specialist for Swift and the family childcare home. And then Julia Woodson is our family support specialist for the YMCA. And they're providing more family support and kind of a, sometimes even a liaison between the site and, you know, the family itself, just really supporting the family through the whole educational process for their child attending school. And all of our family service staff set goals with the families every year and kind of track the progress of those goals each year. We're doing child assessments and things like that all throughout the year as well. And then in addition to all of that, we provide diapers monthly to the families. We partner with Bundle of Blessings, which maybe many of you do. So we're doing that as well monthly. And we do that via diaper distribution. So normally we would have taken them to the families, but the families, many of them come to us at CNE to pick up diapers, and then we deliver as well. And then speaking of our office building, we are currently closed, and we're closed indefinitely right now, but we are available via email. You can actually also call our office and leave a message, and those voicemails come directly to our operations manager, who checks the voicemail and forwards on any messages. So I don't think I missed anything, but I'm going to turn it over to Carolyn to talk a little bit about eligibility.
Thanks, Deepa. I'll just tell you very briefly, for the majority of the programs that Deepa just shared with you, they are early Head Start programs, which have pretty strict income eligibility requirements. That is the main criteria. I mean, obviously age is a component as well, and residency, but we serve Evanston, Skokie, Morton Grove. So the most rigid of the requirements is income, and we're primarily looking for families whose income falls under the federal poverty limit for the preceding 12 months from the application. We're doing all of our intake virtually right now, so that's made it quite easy actually for families to check in with us and send us their documentation to determine if they might be eligible. And we have a number of resources to provide for families if they come to us interested in our programs and don't meet the income requirements. So we absolutely welcome hearing from families who are looking for childcare, who are at lower income levels, and just need resources for how to find subsidized childcare. And as Deepa mentioned, we have assorted openings in our programs, but for the most part, openings in all of our programs. Some of them are very limited. We might have 1 or 2 openings. But for the most part, all of our programs have openings. Right now in our home visiting program, we had a staffing change, so we don't have immediate openings in that program, but we anticipate that we will. So we encourage families to apply to be on our wait list, and then when we do have openings, we can enroll them right away.
And I would just add, Carolyn mentioned a little bit about our service area. So mostly our families are in Evanston, Skokie, Morton Grove. The other service areas that are on our grant are Northfield, Northbrook, Lincolnwood, Wilmette, and Winnetka. I know that sounds crazy, but believe it or not, we have Northfield families. So I just wanted to say that for our home visiting program, they have to live in those service areas. But for center-based and family childcare, they don't have to live there because our programs are based in those service areas. They can live outside of it. But if they are living in an area where there's another Head Start program, we will always refer them. We have to refer them there. So I just want to make sure you guys knew in terms of, you know, where families live. And then I just wanted to also add that our website has an online application that families can apply as well. We're accepting, we activated that during this pandemic as well. Does anyone have any questions?
All right. Well, thank you both, Carolyn and Deepa. Up next is Lyle Clark with the YWCA. Let me find you, Lyle. There you are. And we're running a little bit over our time schedule, so for future presenters, please try to pay attention to the time and keep under, if you can, under the 10-minute limit.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lyle Clark. I'm a domestic violence counselor at the YWCA Evanston-Northshore. Our location is in Evanston, 1215 Church Street, and our toll-free number is 877-718-1868. That is also our 24-hour crisis line number. Most of our services are virtual at this time. We do have our shelter that is open with limited capacity, and then we do have our aquatics program that is also open with limited services, limited capacity as well. We focus on 4 key areas at the Y, which I'll talk about today, from violence, racial and gender equity, women's economic advancement, and our aquatics access and opportunity program. First, I'm going to discuss our domestic violence program, where we strive to ensure that all survivors who turn to us find the safety and support that they need to break free from the abuse, and we meet them wherever they are in their journey. So we let them kind of initiate the start of it, and we meet them wherever they want to go. We help them increase their economic resources, legal protections, and we strengthen their emotional capacity. We do work with children, families, and then just individuals as well. We want to help them break free from abuse and help rebuild their lives. We offer a wide variety of support services to the residents of the shelter, to our longer term housing, which I'll discuss too, and community members. So our emergency shelter is called Mary Lou's Place. And then we have longer term housing, which is called Bridges, which allows survivors time to begin to heal and enable them to secure the economic resources and stability that they need to become independent and autonomous. Length of stay in the emergency shelter is approximately 90 days, but each client has the chance to request an extension if it's needed. The Bridges has approximately 16 apartments in Evanston, and it helps the individuals gain more autonomy and independence. Like I mentioned, we have our 24-hour crisis line, which answers about 1,800 hotline calls a year. We have crisis counselors that answer that phone 24/7, 365. And they provide the emotional support, information about resources in the area, and referrals for other services. We also have legal advocacy that's part of our domestic violence program. They can be contacted at 847-470-5052. They are taking clients in person as well as virtual. They're located at the District 2 Courthouse in Skokie, and they support survivors with understanding their rights under the Illinois Domestic Violence Act, obtaining orders of protection, safety planning, and then also providing resources, referrals that are needed to support them in other areas. We also have the general counseling, which we provide one-on-one for families and their children, as well as just individuals. That is all virtual at this time. And our goal is to provide them with longer term therapeutic interventions so that then, again, they can become more autonomous and independent. The second program I'm going to discuss is our LEAP program, which stands for Leadership and Economic Advancement Program. The LEAP program provides the wraparound supports that our participants, both internally in the shelter as well as community-wide members, might need to achieve this success and stability to become more independent. We provide access to financial, housing, and employment resources. We provide individualized support, group classes, and workshops that help women across the life cycle develop the skills that they need to become more financially secure and stable. Different parts of the LEAP program I'm going to discuss include the basic money management, which helps women strengthen their money management skills by providing the tools and information to help with budgeting, credit, and debt issues. It's offered every month. It's offered virtually now, and anybody can register on our website for that at www.ywca-ens.org/women's-empowerment. Another aspect of the LEAP program is our financial education workshops, in which we provide topic-specific workshops that are customized to meet the unique needs of our survivors and the women in our communities, from teenager to retiree, and more information is on the website for that as well. We know that affordable housing is a big obstacle for our survivors, so we have a specific housing specialist to help with referrals to programs, to help speak to landlords if they are giving our survivors difficulty or asking questions that they may not be able to answer, and then they just help them complete the applications for potentially moving into apartments. We also have a workforce training and employment assistance program, which helps clients secure stable employment while providing support with job readiness skills, developing resumes, completing applications, and then preparing for interviews. Two parts of the workforce training and employment assistance program is our YW Culinary program, as well as our YWeb Career Academy. So the YW Culinary program is a workforce training program that is designed to prepare low to moderate income women for success in the food service industry, which is pretty big here in Chicago. The program will begin again in March 2021 and will be all virtual, and is about a 10-week program. Much more information is on our website, so I encourage anybody that has more interest in that or has clients that would be interested in that to check out the website. You can find more information than I can give. The YWeb Career Academy is new. It's new. It'll start next year, January 2021. And that is a part of a national partnership that we are with Google, YWCA USA, and YWCA Madison. And we're locally partnering with Oakton Community College. The participants in that program will learn digital skills, including design, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Again, more information is on our website. The third program that the YWCA offers is our relationship violence prevention. And with that, we work to prevent relationship violence by helping young people understand what healthy relationships look like, challenging cultural norms of masculinity, and engaging men as allies. The work is done in schools, universities, criminal justice systems, medical facilities, and so many more. There's different parts of that program that include building healthy relationships, which brings our educators into the schools to help the young people build the skills that they need to give each other the respect and to prevent gender violence hopefully before it happens, and then to give them the skills in case it's already occurring. Another aspect of the relationship violence prevention is engaging men as allies, and that's through our Men's Leadership Initiative, which helps men build the skills to prevent gender harassment, as well as mentoring young men into healthy masculinity by interrupting and identifying gender violence. Finally, the relationship violence prevention program has Learning Alternatives to Violence, which is a 26-week intervention group where we work with abusers to change behaviors, beliefs, and attitudes that support their use of violence against their intimate partners. And then anybody that's interested that can sign up for that on our website. I'm pretty sure that's also being offered virtual at this time as well. A fourth program at the YWCA is our Equity Institute, So we know that racism is more than personal bias, as well as we all do. So we continue to work on fostering predictable patterns of inequity. So at the Equity Institute, we're dedicated to promoting racial and gender equity at the individual, interpersonal, and institutional levels. We do this through training and education, community engagement, and annual events. For more information, it's on our website, and just www.ywca-ens.org/advocacy. Finally, access to swimming is very important at the YWCA. We have our swimming program, Aquatics Access and Opportunity, and we actively reach out to children in the community who don't know how to swim, can't afford the swim lessons, or don't have access to swimming. We also are a lead partner in Evanston Swims, in which we provide free swim instruction to all second graders of Evanston Public Schools. We do this because we want to ensure that our swimming program is welcoming to everyone. Finally, I want to discuss some shopping for everyone, because we all like to shop. So the YWCA has 2 different stores. YWCA Shop for Good is a women's resale boutique, and then YWCA Crowded Closet is a consignment shop. So more information for those can be found online and on our website as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lyle. We don't really have time for questions, so please, if you do have questions for Lyle, just directly message him in the chat. All right, so next up is Rickey Schwartz with Riveredge Hospital. All right, Rickey, you are unmuted.
Hi, so Rickey Schwartz, Riveredge Hospital. I'm also, though, now talking about Streamwood Hospital too, because recently we have merged our education and our outreach really to provide seamless access to mental health services. And by the way, you know, Illinois is ranked 20th in the country for access to mental health care. So we're not so great, no big surprise. And there was just recently a report that was released from the Joint Economic Committee on COVID-19. And the report was really eye-opening in supporting what we're doing between Riveredge and Streamwood as far as trying to offer these seamless information about services so people don't have to jump around looking for help. So in Illinois, 1 out of 3 people are experiencing symptoms of anxiety and depression. There's 11% unemployment, and this is all from this Joint Economic Committee. 9.4% of people in Illinois have food insecurity. 33.2% are having difficulty paying their month-to-month expenses. 1 in 10 adults have considered suicide in the past 30 days, and that's more than double last year. So as you can imagine, you know, hospitals are busy. We're busy, and we're trying to be forward thinking and thought leaders about how are we going to be able to handle this potential onslaught of mental health needs. And we're working hard on it. So we have services in both hospitals available to children as young as 4 years old. Streamwood has adolescent programs that are more divided up by diagnosis and by behavior, but not by gender. Riveredge has them by gender. So again, whatever the needs of the community or your client might be, we're going to try to help to get them into the best service that we can possibly get them into. We also are able to service the intellectual and developmental disability community at Riveredge. So we're the only ones in the state that have that unit. And Streamwood has a unit for children and adolescents on the spectrum, also that have great need and need one-on-one, perhaps, stabilization. So again, we're trying to bridge the hospitals, offer better services, more seamless access to care. I'm not going to go into all the details of the programs, but just know we have the complete continuum. We are meeting in person for some of our IOP for children and adolescents. We've taken to Zoom quite quickly. We haven't had any lapse in services. There are no visiting, obviously, right now. But we're forward thinking, and we're trying to be prepared for an onslaught of mental health needs needs and services. So if anybody has any needs, you can refer to our websites. You can always reach out and contact me. I'm on this listserv. If you have specific questions about what might be appropriate for a patient, I'm a community liaison. I also work on a co-occurring unit in the hospital. So I know how of the hospitals, both systems. So if you're running into any obstacles, please reach out. The websites are Riveredge Hospital and Streamwood Hospital, separate websites, and all programs and all forms now for all the educators that might need to have the right forms. So thank you for doing this, Abby. Way to keep at it.
Thank you, Ricky. Does anyone have any quick questions?
Thank you.
All right. So next up is Angelo Militello. He's going to speak about Compassionate Friends. There you go, Angelo.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. With over 600 chapters, Compassionate Friends is the largest self-help bereavement support organization in the United States. Compassionate Friends provides emotional support to parents, siblings, and grandparents following the death of a child of any age and for any reason. Of these 600 chapters, most of them operate with a monthly meeting. Most chapters also have a monthly newsletter. Meetings are typically held led by a facilitator who is not a professional. Facilitators have been trained by the national office. They must be either a parent, a sibling, or a grandparent who has experienced the death of a child. The meetings generally last about an hour and a half to 2 hours. The typical meeting would be your typical sitting around in a circle. People introduce themselves, they tell their story, how their child died, and then there's open discussion. Many chapters will have special topics. Typically in November, the topic might be how to deal with the holidays. Around in the spring, there might be how you deal with Mother's Day and Father's Day. The chapters might break into groups where they separate men and women, or do it on the basis of age, a child between 0 and 5 years old, or a child over 20 years old, anger or guilt, many different ways of presenting the topics. In our area, the closest chapter meets at Journey Care Hospice in Glenview. And I'm not going to give you a lot of details about where to find these chapters, but just jot this down. Google Compassionate Friends. Compassionate Friends, you'll get the national website. On that website, you will find a chapter locator that will direct you to contact the person who's running that chapter. In our chapter, the Glenview chapter is called the Northwest Suburban Chapter. It's one of the oldest chapters in the state of Illinois. Typically, I was a chapter leader for over 10 years, and typically the attendance at the meetings is mostly women, a few couples, not as many men, which might meet some of your experiences, that men tend not to be very open to sharing their grief. The death of a child, no matter the age, is significantly different than any other death. It's so different that typically therapists and social workers tend to label a parent's grief as pathological, when in fact it's very normal. Much of our understanding of grief is based on our own experiences. I'm sure everybody here has experienced either loss of a grandparent, a parent, a spouse, a close friend, and all of those losses, depending on the relationship, can be quite devastating. And not to diminish those losses, they do not compare to the loss, the death of a child. Just to give you an example of what I mean by that. I've lost 2 adult children. I shouldn't say lost, I didn't lose them, they died. My youngest daughter died at age 29, and right around the time of her death, there was a 5-year, actually a 4.5-year period where there were 5 deaths. My mother-in-law died, then my father died, then my brother died, one of my brothers died, then my daughter died, then my mother died. So 5 deaths within about 4 years. Of those deaths, the 4 put together, multiplied by 1 million, did not compare at all to the death of my daughter. So much so that years later, I felt guilt that I did not grieve those other losses as much as I did my daughter's. If you're working with a client who has experienced the death of a child, please understand that that will affect the entire family dynamic. Typically, siblings suffer a lot because they are kind of like the forgotten mourner, the forgotten griever. My surviving daughter typically reminds me that when she meets people, talks to her friends, they never ask about her, they ask about how are your parents, as if we're the only ones that are suffering this loss. There's a myth that goes around that the death of a child increases the probability of divorce. Compassionate Friends has done some national studies, and that does not seem to be true. What does seem to be true, if there were marital problems prior to the death, it may make divorce more of a possibility, but there's no significant difference in divorce among married couples who have experienced the death of a child. One of the meetings we have yearly, we ask our participants to talk to us about things that they appreciate or don't appreciate from others. And I'm just going to share a couple of those with you, because as a therapist, or even as someone who may know someone who had a child die, the things that parents do not appreciate are things like, well, at least he isn't, or you're lucky you still have other children, or God has his reasons, or you can always have another child, or he or she is in a better place. Please don't say those kinds of things. Telling us what we should feel, telling us, isn't it about time you get over it? No, it's not time to get over it. My daughter died 25 years ago. My son died 14 years ago. I'm not over it. I know I never will be. Do not tell us you know how we feel unless you have experienced the death of a child. Things we do appreciate. This is not so much true now, but hugs, remembering our child, talking about them, telling us about them, telling us little stories about them, sharing memorabilia, all those things are very helpful to us. Because of the pandemic, most chapters are no longer meeting in person. Our chapter is doing Zoom meetings. If you go to that website, you can contact the chapter leader. She will inform you of when the Zoom meetings are. I think the meetings are now held on the first Thursday of the month around 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. She'll give you the Zoom link and you can participate. If you have any questions, please go to the website. I'm part of LAN41. I'm part of the Niles Township Youth Coalition. I'm part of the Myszkowski Commission on Family Services. So if you need any information, contact me through those organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelo. If anyone has questions for him, you can use the chat or reach out to him in a later time. Next up is JCFS Chicago, and Jackie Kretchmer is going to present. Jackie, you are unmuted.
Great. Hello, my name is Jackie Kretchmer. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am a community educator at Response for Teens, which is part of the larger organization of JCFS Chicago. That stands for Jewish Child and Family Services. Today, I'm going to be talking about JCFS as a whole, as well as like Response for Teens individually. So JCFS, kind of our main mission is that JCFS Chicago offers individualized help to support people of all ages and abilities as they strive to live successfully in their community while enhancing social and emotional well-being for adults, children, teens, families, and individuals with disabilities, regardless of religion, race, ethnicity, ability, gender, or sexual orientation. So with JCFS, we serve just a very, very large population, and it's not just a Jewish population, even though we are a Jewish organization. So now I'll just kind of go through like all of the different services that JCFS provides for children, adolescents, and families. We have K through 12 and above education, as well as yeshiva program at the NAP school, which is in West Rogers Park. We have speech, language, occupational, and developmental therapy through integrated pediatric therapies. We have a therapeutic preschool and counseling for children and families at the Virginia Frank Child Development Center. And then we also offer psychological testing and evaluation, therapy for disruptive behaviors in children, specialized foster care and case management, and then we have Response for Teens, which also is, part of this like children and adolescents category. At Response, we serve clients ages 12 to 24, so it's all young people. And we have the mental health side, which we have counseling for people, like anyone in that age range, as well as like including families in those sessions. And then we also have the outreach and education department, which I am a part of. So I go around to middle schools, high schools, and synagogues in Chicago and the suburbs and teach subjects like sex education, healthy relationship education, drug education, mental health, amongst other things as well. So that is kind of our children, adolescent, and family section. Next, I'll go on to how we can support individuals. So JCFS offers counseling and support groups for adults, couples, and families. We also have divorce mediation, coaching, and counseling. And then JVS, Career and Employment, offers career counseling, training, and customized job placement. And within this, we also have specialized employment programs that support youth and older adults. And then we have the JCFS Immigration and Refugee Services branch, which offers immigration and citizenship services. Through this branch, they also provide affordable immigration and citizenship legal services. There's support with applications for citizenship, permanent residency, DACA renewals, and family-based immigration petitions. And all of these services can be provided in English, Russian, and Spanish. The JCFS Immigration and Refugee Services branch also has programs to help individuals prepare for the citizenship interview and test, which includes group classes and mock interviews, which are all currently being held on Zoom. And then there's also public benefits support for Russian-speaking immigrants specifically, which provides information and referral services as well as application assistance. So now I'll go on to kind of talking about the programs that JCFS offers for individuals in our community who are seeking education and support. JCFS offers addiction services, loss, illness, and spiritual support, abuse prevention programs, and also just connections to counseling, education, and prevention services through community partnerships. For people with disabilities and their families, we offer community-based group living. There's support and assistance for independent living as well. And then there's also a home-based waiver for children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We also have a specialized recreational camp for children and teens called Camp Firefly, which is an overnight camp. It's like a therapeutic overnight camp over the summer. And then we have job training and customized employment opportunities. And we also offer legal representation, consultation, and referral services. For professionals, we offer training in early childhood education. And then we also have an internship program for social work and psychology. So for example, like at Response for Teens, we every year get a second year social work student, getting their master's in social work, and they work at Response and see clients there for their internship. So that's all that I have. Does anybody have any questions? Or if you do, you could put them in the chat. Great, okay, well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Next up is Ruth Orme-Johnson with the Niles Township Government. And Ruth, you are unmuted.
Thank you. Hi, I share an office, so sorry, you're gonna get things like phones and that sort of thing. We have not been remote for a little while, so. I'm Ruth, I'm from Niles Township. I'm the Director of General Assistance here. We provide a number of services that I will detail now on my PowerPoint. I'm gonna do this here handy dandy screen sharing thing and try to do this quickly. Share screen. Okie dokie. Share.
Okay, do you have it set up now?
Great, there we go. Everyone can see it, I hope.
You do, okay, and how much do you owe?
Abby, can I get a thumbs up?
Yep, yes, we can see it.
Awesome, thank you. Okie dokie, so we'll go from the beginning. And we're gonna, there we go. Okay,
Yeah.
So like I said, my name is Orme-Johnson. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and the Director of General Assistance here at Niles Township. I'm the Director of General Assistance. I also work with Holly Zimmerman, who you maybe can hear a little bit taking a call in the background very generously while I do this. She is also a social worker here. I've been at the Township since April, and she's been here for about 17 years. So if you have any questions about anything going back a ways in the township. She's your gal. What we do here is primarily provide financial assistance. And that's what I'm going to spend real time on. If there are a couple of other programs that we offer, but this will sort of be the focus for today. So first, there's general assistance, emergency assistance. There's our COVID-19 response fund, assistance with summer camp, and childcare scholarship program. And I'll detail each of these.
Oh, sure. I can mail it to you, no problem.
So general assistance is one of our primary programs. It's the only financial assistance we have that is provided on an ongoing basis, and there's no time limit. So somebody who becomes a general assistance client can receive general assistance into perpetuity, theoretically, although they're all, the average is probably 4-ish years. It's a monthly financial assistance grant of up to $600, and it's specifically for recipients who are job seekers, refugees, or are applying for SSI or SSDI. So the job seekers who are applying also need to not be eligible for either workman's comp or unemployment. So these are not people who have just lost work recently, but it's people who have been unemployed for some time usually, or are trying to get back into the workforce after a long stint of unemployment. All recipients need to have $2,000 or less in assets, an income of less than $600 a month. That is a requirement by the state. That's not us, so that's pretty hard and fast, and it's similar to, from my understanding, that's pretty similar to the guidelines for food stamps. So generally, folks who qualify for food stamps will also qualify for GA, or it's one of the things that we will use in determining qualifications. The grant can go towards utilities, rental expenses, or car insurance. We are pretty limited also in how we can make those payments, but again, they're monthly, so they can be used for a lot of different, they can be used for a limited number of things, but for a long period of time. Next up, we have emergency assistance. This is a one-time grant for up to $600. This requires a utility shutoff or an eviction notice. Again, this is state funded, so that's full stop. You need to have a shutoff notice or an eviction notice. We can't, just because you're behind on your bill or behind on your rent, we can't necessarily help you with emergency assistance. There's also an earnings cap. So based on your monthly earnings, we determine whether or not we would qualify you for emergency assistance. Only available once a year per family. And along with GA, it's required that you're a documented resident. So undocumented folks, unfortunately, can't receive emergency assistance or general assistance. We also have a COVID-19 response fund. Now, I think of this as sort of the exciting way that we're getting around the limitations of general assistance and emergency assistance. It's a one-time grant of up to $1,000, and it's available to all residents of Niles Township regardless of immigration status. So our undocumented folks can also receive Niles Township COVID-19 dollars. Recipients need to also have lost income due to COVID-19 at some point. So there's a requirement that you at some point have lost income, and that can look like a family member who's been supporting you losing their income, or it can mean that somebody lost their income for a little while and has now become reemployed. So there's a little more flexibility in there. And this is much more flexible in terms of how it can be applied. So rent, utilities, medical expenses, other needs. You can certainly talk to us about what the needs of for your clients, and we can see if we can help them out through this fund. Then also we have a summer camp scholarship and daycare scholarship. They operate pretty similarly, so I'll talk about them at the same time. These are available to all Niles Township residents, regardless of immigration status as well, because this is a township funded program. We don't need to be held to the standards of the state, so we can provide this to folks regardless of whether or not they're documented. The summer camp scholarship is specifically for Park District summer camps, and Skokie was the only one in operation this summer, so we have a fair amount of money left over in that line item, which is nice because we've been able to boot that over to our daycare scholarship, which now funds both the sort of traditional 0 birth to 5 kids who are in daycare. And then also we can provide support for young kids who are doing distance learning but need to be supervised and need to be somewhere where there's an adult watching them. The Skokie Park District is offering this. A couple of area early education and preschools are offering this. So if you know somebody who's in need of financial support in order to be able to afford having their children at one of these sort of unusual COVID-19 2020 setups where they are being supervised while doing their distance learning, we're happy to help. All right, and here's some of my contact information. Our address is 5255 Lincoln Avenue. Right behind us also, I forgot to mention this, is a food pantry. The Niles Township Food Pantry is open 5 days a week. So you can ask me for more details about that if you'd like as well. And that's at the same address there. That's our main phone number. I don't have a direct line, so you'd call and then ask to speak to me. And then there's my direct email address. Any questions?
All right.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Ruth. All right, up next is Blair Famarin from Rogers Behavioral Health. All right, you are unmuted.
Thanks, Abby. Thanks for having me. Blair with Rogers Behavioral Health. We are a nonprofit behavioral health system serving children, adolescents, and adults. We are located in Illinois in Skokie and in Hinsdale. We have specialized specific treatment for OCD and anxiety, eating disorder, mood disorder, dual diagnosis, so substance use disorder and mental health, as well as trauma. And we have another specialized program to treat mood and anxiety in kids who are on the autism spectrum. In Illinois, we only have partial hospitalization and intensive outpatient levels of care. So that's either 6 hours a day or 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. In Wisconsin, right over the border, we do have resident programming. So that's more of a 45 to 60 day length of stay, not necessarily, you know, years or a boarding school or anything like that. It's shorter term residential, where we then refer back to PHPs and IOPs or an outpatient therapist in the area when they complete our residential for all the same things that I just mentioned, just a higher level of care. We do take most insurance. We're in network with all of the major ones. And we also take that for residential up in Wisconsin. We are not in network with Medicare or Medicaid at this time, unfortunately. We do have psychiatry services on site. So we have 3 board certified child, adolescent, and adult psychiatrists who are Rogers employees and are at our clinic Monday to Friday and are available to see our clients at least two times a week, which is really nice, and to be available for family sessions. We have a huge family component for anybody under 18. We have Parent University, where our parents come without their kids. We do family therapy every week, and we also require a parent to be available for the first 2 weeks of treatment. That way they can learn exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it. We keep our groups very small, 8 to 10 in each group, and each of our therapists only holds 4 clients at a time because we do a lot of individualized treatment. So clients either get 1 or 2 groups a day if they're in the PHP, depending on the diagnosis and the program they're in, and then 2 to 3 hours of individualized treatment that's specific to the client. And right now we are doing a virtual and in-person hybrid. So we're letting people choose if they would like to come in person or if they would like to remain virtual. We have had a spike in COVID in the North Suburban Cook County. So we have moved to only having 50% of our clients on site as of this week. So we are encouraging the virtual option a little more now, but there is the option to come in person if the person really needs it. If we're concerned about safety, if they're in the eating disorder program, they really need those supervised meals, things like that, we can get somebody on site still. And we're hoping that the COVID will come down and we'll be able to get back to having more people on site. Intake is really easy. It's a phone intake. Even in non-COVID times, we do phone intake. So they just call our number in Skokie. It's 224-470-4100. That goes directly to Skokie. There is a number for Hinsdale. If you guys are interested, I can get that one too. But the Skokie number will get the free phone assessment. It's about 45 minutes with one of our intake specialists. It'll then get sent to the doctor who will determine which program and which level of care they think is best. And then we'll call insurance and get everything pre-approved for the client before they come in to see us. We start at age 6 for our kid programs, and we go all the way to any age, although we don't take Medicare, so we don't get a lot of the older adults into our programming. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them now. I think we have a few more minutes for my time to answer questions, or I can answer them in the chat as well. Thank you everybody for coming, and I put my information in the chat, so if you guys want to meet separately or have a phone call or a Zoom meeting, happy to do that as well. Thanks, Abby.
Thank you, Blair. Any questions for Blair?
All right, well, thank you.
All right, so we are about 10 minutes ahead of schedule now. So next up is Christine Somerville from NAMI.
Okay.
And you are unmuted.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Somerville. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see it.
Yes, we can.
All right. So NAMI is the largest mental health provider in the country. It's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And we are in Cook County, North Suburban, which means that we're located in Skokie. We share a facility with Turning Point. And our programs are of 3 different types. We have support groups for families and for parents of a loved one with a diagnosis. We have a support group for veterans. We have a support group for adults in recovery. It's called Connections. And a support group for working adults and students, which is called Balance for Success. We have it's listed as a support group here, but it's really kind of a class because it has 4 different meetings quarterly, and there's a topic, but it's for individuals who are not fond of talk therapy, who would rather find another way to sort of address their mental health challenges. And this is through the use of horses who have a very therapeutic, profound impact on many people. It's not for everyone, but the people who do go to this program absolutely love it. And we've just launched a new support group called Frontline Connections, and it's for medical professionals who are experiencing, COVID fatigue and compassion fatigue, have been working with people on the front lines in the medical profession, and are finding it difficult, as most are. So those are our support groups. All of our support groups are peer-led, which differentiates us from many of the other mental health providers. They are led by 2 facilitators who are trained by NAMI in the protocols and the curriculum that we have, and it's evidence-based. So everything is peer-led and it's free. So the other kinds of programs we offer are classes, educational classes. We have a family-to-family class, which is 8 weeks now. It used to be 12 weeks, but it's been condensed. And and it has now been moved online. So we will be offering our first family-to-family 8-week class, probably at the beginning of the year. We're shooting for January. We're shooting for the first week of January, but it will be on our website for those of you who may be interested in that. There is also a class online for parents, and that is through NAMI National. So that would be through www.nami.org. We also offer mental health first aid to organizations that might like to have a class. It's similar to CPR, only for mental health, for people to be able to recognize someone who is in a mental health crisis rather than a physical crisis. And then there's another class that is offered online through the national organization, NAMI, and it's called Homefront. And that's for veterans and their families. And then the third piece of programs that we oversee are our advocacy programs. And they include in our own voice presentations. And what this is we get invited to organizations, police departments, sometimes public libraries, to have individuals who have been trained to tell their personal stories of how they are living well in recovery. And so anytime we get invitations, we have a cadre of speakers that we call upon to do that. And it's a very impactful program for people who don't really understand what mental health challenges look like. This is a really impactful glimpse into what that is like. We have community education programs, and now all of these are offered virtually through Zoom, like today's meeting. And we're offering them now more frequently. So we're doing once a month minimum, sometimes twice a month. Our next one is tonight, and it is, the topic is navigating the pandemic within the family. So we have Dr. Candace Hughes from the Chicago School of Professional Psychology talking about how families are coping and providing a lot of resources and information on how families can cope in this crisis with their families, with their children, with their loved ones. We have an authors forum of community education programs, which we invite someone who has written a memoir to talk about their story, their family story, or their personal story with a mental health condition. And then we also provide a program called Ending the Silence in Schools, which is a stigma busting program. It involves a video and a couple speakers who share their personal stories about mental health challenges. And then one of the big things that we offer, unlike hotlines, we have a warm line support for people. And that really amounts to people will call us needing some kind of help. Sometimes they don't know what kind of help they need. They just know that they need help for their loved one or for themselves. And our warm line is set up to connect those people with resources, and also to talk to them, to help them figure out what kinds of support they might need and where they might go. So we have our person who mans that warm line, and then we have a new program underneath that called NAMI Chats, and that program will allow someone who's called in who wants to have a conversation with maybe someone else who has a similar situation, and our NAMI Chats coordinator will locate someone who will call them back and have a conversation with them. So it's kind of like a one-on-one support, peer support kind of support. All of our programs are free, as I said, and all of our support groups that I mentioned earlier, now are offered online via Zoom. So I am going to type in the, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to type in the chat box how you can reach us. And I'm going to see if there are any questions now, because that ends my program or my discussion. I'm typing in right now, and we'll share our website and our phone number if you're interested in calling our warm line. Oh, I better label that. NAMI 847-716-2252. Okay. All right. I think I have a minute left, but
Christine, looks like there's a question. Is there a link to tonight's meeting and time?
There is a link, so let me see if I can put that in the chat. If not, it is on our website. It is 7 p.m. I'm going to try to put it in the chat box, but if I can't do that in time, it's at 7 p.m. tonight, and you can find the link on our website, namiccns.org.
Great, thank you very much. Any other questions for Christine? All right, thank you very much, Christine.
You're welcome.
All right, up next is Steve Applebaum with Behavioral Services Center.
Thank you very much.
Unmuted.
Yeah. My name is Steve Applebaum. I'm the director of the Child and Adolescent Program at Behavioral Services Center in Skokie. We're located at 8707 Skokie Boulevard. Our suite number is 207B. Our phone number is 847-673-8577. And my direct phone number is 312-952-0040. I'm going to talk a little bit about the adult program first. Our adult program offers individual, group, and family counseling. Also intensive outpatient and partial hospitalization programs are available. We work with mood disorders, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, domestic violence in particular as well. Those are often court ordered with the substance abuse and the domestic violence. We also offer for adults MS, which is magnetic resonance for severe depression. We have for adults and children full psychiatric services and medication management. We take all insurances, including Medicaid and managed care. So that's the adult side. I'm, again, the director of the Child and Adolescent Program. I can tell you a little bit more about what we do. We have intensive outpatient, partial hospitalization, and outpatient services for children who are suffering from mood disorders, eating disorders, anxiety, depression, things like conduct disorders, failure to thrive. In our programs, we have the components of group, individual, and family therapy. We deal primarily with children who have been recently discharged from inpatient hospitalizations or who are referred by other providers for a higher level of care. We work with children who have presented at the emergency room for suicidality or strong emotional disturbance, but don't meet the criteria for inpatient hospitalization, and then we work with them here as well. That's about it for us. We're real quick and brief and easy, but again, we're available to work with you at any time. We've been in the community for 10 years and try very hard to serve the community and the families that we work with. That's it for me.
Steve, I apologize if I didn't catch this. Did you mention the insurances that you accept?
Yeah, I did. We accept every insurance there is, and we also have a sliding scale. So I can't tell you because our executive director, the owner of the practice, Dr. Eugenia Siano, will hit me on the head if I say how low we will go. But it is incredibly low sliding scale if necessary. But we do take all private insurances, all Medicaid, and all Medicaid managed programs as well. So there isn't an insurance we don't take, with the exception of Tricare. But we can get single case agreements for people with military insurance through Tricare.
And what is the intake and referral process like again?
Okay, thank you. That's a good question. Thank you for asking those things. For intake for adult programs, they call the main number, which is 847-673-8577. For adolescent and children, best if they call me directly at 312-952-0040. I do all the intakes for adolescents myself. Currently, I'm doing most of the intake and assessment processes for adolescents and children in person. All our services, however, beyond the initial intake at this time are through telemedicine and online virtually.
Great. And someone had asked, did you say you have psychiatric services?
We have psychiatric services if they're indicated. But our psychiatric services, and it's a good question, we're limited to providing those services only for people who are engaged in counseling and therapy through our agency. So we're not able to provide psychiatric services to clients who are seeing other therapists.
And then someone had asked if you could please provide your contact information again. Maybe it'd be helpful to put it in the chat.
Okay, sure, I can do that. I'll do that as well. All right, I'll put it in the chat, and we have online presence as well. And then we'll forward to you our brochures to be distributed, and they're of course in the directory.
Sounds great. Any other questions for Steve? All right. Thank you very much, Steve.
All right, thank you.
Right, next up is the ELL Parent Center, and Sabia Patel will be presenting. You are unmuted. Oh, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Hello, everybody. I am Sabiha Patel from the ELL Parent Center, ELL standing for English Language Learners. So for the purposes of today's presentation, can I share my screen, Abby?
Yes, you can.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk everyone through the website, which is going to be much easier in case you want to come back and look at certain points that I mentioned. But just a bit of a data point first. Skokie, which is where we're located, is it hosts one of the largest immigrant and refugee populations outside of Chicago. And between the residents, the immigrant and refugee populations of Skokie, more than 100 languages are spoken. And so the ELL Center is for the purposes of serving this community that does not speak English as their first language, and hence the English language learner name. So I'm going to quickly show you one fun thing about, because it's geared towards non-native English speakers, the website itself can be translatable. If you look here on the top corner here, it has select language, and you can view, for example, if I choose Arabic, it's going to translate everything in Arabic, and a speaker of that language can read this information in their language. Now I'm going to take you through what we do one by one, according to the tabs as we've listed here. We're located at 9440 Kenton Avenue in Skokie. We are housed actually in the Skokie District 68 building, so you will find us on that end. If you look at the top here, it says Partners, District 219, Skokie School District 68, Fairview South, East Prairie, and 73.5. So what ELL Center is a collaborative of all these school districts, because it is set up to help the parents of students in all these schools. So a little bit about what we do. If you look here, we've listed our objectives on the website, and the three main objectives of our center are literacy for the parents, so that parents can effectively communicate in all areas of their daily life. Language can be a huge, huge barrier, and we try to eliminate that barrier by helping them catch up on their language skills so they can feel comfortable communicating with their students' teachers, even in their daily life when they're looking for a job, or, you know, for whatever reason it is to transition into their new home, which is this country, America. And life can be really difficult if you have a language barrier. So we really focus on helping them overcome that language barrier by providing them literacy skills in English. The other thing that we also do is we partner with lots of local organizations, and some of these organizations have already presented, and you'll see them listed as well. But we we are a bridge to for these parents to get to these resources. And because we are a multilingual staff, we help them, we try to get them to, you know, explain what their needs are using language support services, so we can connect them to the appropriate community resource. Apart from just literacy, we also provide other education in terms of digital literacy, citizenship prep, and some uniquely designed workshops. And then we also have a quick survey for parents to take to provide us feedback on what they would like to see in terms of classes. So a sample of our fall classes and programs. We are in person. I mean, we were in person before COVID, but because of COVID, all our classes are virtual. We are open though. The center itself is open, so families are welcome to walk in with a question or concern. But these are some of our classes, and if you click on any of these, it'll give you a more detailed description. Now, in addition to the classes and programs, there might be some, again, language barriers or not, it's a huge spectrum. There might be some in the middle somewhere, some who are towards, you know, fluency, but yet need a lot of help. And so for those students or those families that are not able to make it to our live online classes, we have provided a huge amount of resources for them to gain independence in furthering their education. So as you can see here, we've provided a lot of ESL material, citizenship prep materials, even for GED, driver's ed prep for getting the permit before you actually go for your road test, computer skills, and link to the online learning platforms like Lynda and Gale, which is through the Skokie Library. So what else do we do apart from classes and programs? Some of the things that we do, well, as you can see, because we are geared towards providing them assistance in all facets of their life, they can come to us with a question regarding any school-related concerns. For example, they are unable to understand something related to their child's schoolwork, or they want to communicate to the school a certain question or concern. They can come to us, and we are the liaison for that. We will connect to the school, and we will try to understand what it is. We help them in continuing their own education with housing assistance. We have connected quite a few families with Niles Township, and Ruth has been absolutely amazing in helping these individuals with the bills, the food and meals assistance, senior care assistance, childcare. So we don't actually give them these the assistance in exactly in the form of financial aid or such, but we are the bridge. So we connect them to the Niles Township or the Village of Skokie or Turning Point or Heartland Health Centers, and we help. If they need us to make a phone call, we will do that for them. If they need us to take them there, we will provide that assistance. But we will sit down with them, go through with them, kind of like case management, but we do provide them all that help. Now, one more thing, or one rather important thing for us or to help them with is specifically that chunk of population that comes with a foreign degree. And sometimes they are at a loss of what to do because they don't know how the education system here works. And so many people that come as immigrants or refugees are highly qualified individuals that will not be able to find a job because of lack of knowledge and or what to do with what they already have. So we have partnered with educational credential evaluators that do the evaluation to give them a US equivalent. So they, for example, somebody with a bachelor's degree from a foreign country will come here and not know what my degree is worth. The educational credential evaluators will evaluate that for them, and then they will give them a US equivalent, which is then acceptable in many universities, most of them, and a lot of employers also look for that. What we have done at the ELL Center is established a partnership with ECE so that we can provide financial help and eliminate the cost of that. It can be anywhere from $160 to $260 to get that evaluation. And if we make the referral, that is obtained for free for our parents. Job search and opportunities. Just like the ECE, we also work with something, an organization called Upwardly Global, which is geared towards immigrants with a foreign degree who want to work in their field. They might have had experience as an engineer in their country, and over here they don't know how to get that job in that same field. Upwardly Global helps, and we connect them with the individuals who can provide one-to-one job coaching and help them get that job in their particular field. But apart from that, many of our immigrant families, due to the language barrier, are having a lot of difficulty actually finding jobs. So we do the research for them, and we post them on our website. If you see, we've posted current job openings in the neighborhood, and they can click on this, which will take them directly to that application page, which also has a description of the job, and we will continuously update these. So it's very easy for them to just come to our page and say, oh, I can apply for, I'm capable of doing this job, and I can go ahead. So some of the partner organizations that we work with are all listed here. Excuse me. And these are all our partners. These are also, anybody can, or any of our parents, if they are on our website and want to go directly to any of these pages, these are linked to the website for these partners. We love volunteers, and so we have a volunteer form here that we want our bilingual parents who are proficient in multiple languages. Even though they might not need our services, they might be capable of providing help to others. So we have a volunteer form for that. And one very important program that we do is called a Parent Mentor Program, which is specifically geared towards helping new families understand the American education system for their children. And this, what this does is it places a parent who is willing to spend a few hours in the classroom, not necessarily the child's classroom, but in their child's school with a teacher to understand how the school system works, because school systems are very different in different countries. So this works to benefit both the teacher who ends up having another adult to help the children in the class, and for the parent mentor that is in the classroom with the teacher, they learn, they improve their language, they get to help the children, and in turn end up learning a lot about the education system. So it's a very beneficial program for both the parents and the teachers as well as the children. Our contact is also, information is listed on our page. We also have a text number where parents can text us 24/7, and we try to get back to them as soon as we can. So that's up for us, the ELL Center. Any questions?
Bhatia, there was a couple questions in the chat. So someone asked, can you expand a little bit on your service for job placement? What do you do and what don't you do?
Okay, so for job placement, that first part that I talked about working with Upwardly Global, that is only for people who have foreign degrees and are independent enough to be able to go through certain tutorials, and then we place them with a job. We don't, but Upwardly Global does, but the referral comes from us. For those that, the only little bit of a catch to that is that they have to pass a language test, and the language level of English has to be at an intermediate to low advanced level. The second part of the job placement is if someone comes to us and says, I would like to work in the restaurant or in, in the retail, or I want to work in the school system, anything that they think that they would like to work in the field of, and they have a certain skill that they would like to put to use, we work with them on creating a resume, and we guide them to all the different opportunities that are out there. And if they need help in filling out the form, we help them with that as well.
Another question is, do you contact the employer or just work with the person seeking employment?
No, so we don't contact the employer. We work with the person seeking employment, but we can speak with the employer if they have any questions, because the referral might, if they want to ask, do you think this person is really capable, or they said that they have come to you for help, so we can definitely talk with them. So for example, in terms of housing, when people have come to us and we're working with them, connecting them with different organizations to get them their housing help, and they constantly need help in managing the conversation with the landlord, and they're in such fear that the landlord's always the case. Made a few calls to a few landlords and says, we're working on this, please have some patience, you will get your rent. So we will do those kinds of phone calls for them.
Great. Any other questions for Sabiha?
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. All right, up next is Skokie Public Library. Holly Jin, I'm unmuting you.
Thank you, Abby. Kate Pelagorski.
Kate too.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I had problems yesterday. I'm so glad it's working. So yes, thank you. Kate and I are going to present together. So I'll steal the screen if I may. Is that working for everyone?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, let me actually get to the slide that I wanted to be on, which is our first slide here. So welcome everybody to the resource presentations. Thanks for having us. Many of you might be wondering why you would refer a client to the library when most people may already have a library card and be using the library. And we're here just to share with you a little bit of maybe what the newer libraries look for. I wish we were in person so I could ask how many of you, have been to your library. Maybe if you want to go to participants and do a thumbs up, you can, but in the interest of time, I know that there's always somebody who's just hasn't had a chance to learn what libraries are about. So we're going to do that for you today. It's much more than checking out a book, though those collections are really supportive, I think, for people who are looking for any type of personal learning and growth. And also, I just want to tell you a little bit about the library's mission. We desire to be a springboard to personal growth and community development. And our current priorities are really working on building a more resilient, a more engaged, and a more inclusive community. And so we do that with a range of collections by establishing really fruitful partnerships with organizations such as yours, and by offering engaging events and learning experiences. And then I think some of the other things that we sometimes forget is just our best resource is our staff. So I'm Holly Jin, I'm a community engagement supervisor, and I'm here with my coworker, Ms.
Katrina Bilogorski. I'm a community engagement librarian, work with Holly.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about Skokie Library, what we have, what we offer, and how it's a little bit different during the pandemic.
In this picture, you see our beautiful building before the renovation. Although this part of the building probably won't be changed much, but the construction workers are there. But even with the pandemic and major construction, the library is open for limited hours and limited services. You can come in and check out a book, you can browse, or you can make an appointment for 30 minutes using a computer if you need to use the internet. If you have any questions, you can always submit your reference questions or any kind of questions through our online chat. The construction is still going on till spring of 2021, but the second floor is done. And if you are brave to come to the library, and we are a very safe place to come in, trust me on that, you can check how beautiful it is on the second floor. We have a lot of spaces for community, for new shelves for books. We doubled the number of study rooms. We will have a maker space for teens and adults to work on projects. It's going to be beautiful as soon as we'll kill the pandemic and the library will be open with their full service.
And in fact, Kate looks like she's sitting on the brand new second floor right now. Your background, Kate, is a picture of this new second floor.
That's correct. This is the picture of our beautiful bookmobile, and bookmobile is used heavily, like it's been used before, very heavily. Bookmobile has many stops in the community where you can pick up your books, and it's working only as a curbside right now. You're not allowed to come to the bookmobile for browsing. You can request your books, come in and pick them up either on community stops, and the schedule is on our website, or by the library, where bookmobile sits there almost every day for specific hours. All this information on our website.
Okay, so some of the things that we are continuing to do in the pandemic are really helping to build social connections for our residents. And we do that often through events and learning opportunities. We offer events for people of all ages. Our schedule is on our website. You can view it as a calendar and filter from youth programs or teen or adult programs, but you'll see a wide variety of health and wellness, things like yoga and meditation. Our financial literacy could be budgeting or help with applying for FAFSA, or our collaboration with the village in Medicare applications. There's a lot of civic engagement and having conversation about some of today's current issues, and giving people a voice to share their opinions. And for children, we often have story times and dancing, family cooking, puppet programs, even one-on-ones with the librarians and their little ones, because we miss each other so much. There's always a place to talk about what we're reading and watching, and these are all facilitated online through Instagram or other platforms like Zoom. And we are as well working hard to continue our teen and adult volunteer opportunities during the pandemic. But we have a website and a volunteer coordinator, so I think you'll be able to find most of this information online.
Accessibility. We have many different programs for adults with disabilities. So because of the pandemic, certain programs are not fully active, but we still are offering dog therapy sessions for children. We do have book discussions for adults with development and disabilities monthly. And we just started again the book-bound delivery last week. Book-bound delivery was one of the most popular services we have, but we stopped for a while because of the pandemic. But last week was the first homebound delivery. Homebound service mainly developed for people who are either senior citizens, for whom it will be problematic to come to the library, or people with a temporary or permanent disabilities. We do have different adaptive equipment in the building. We have wheelchairs, we have adaptive toys for children, we have a scooter. So you don't really need to request it beforehand. People who are in need of this equipment just come into the library and ask at the front desk.
Thanks, Kate. I think you probably all know that we're talking about these programs and services as a blend of mostly online when it comes to programs, but services and collections are open in the library. And one of the other in-person services that could only work in person is our free meal distribution. So during a typical year, we're going to be offering free lunch in the summer for children and after school snacks during the school year. But in this season, we're accepted to continue serving meals to children 18 and younger, as well as adults with disabilities. These meals are prepackaged with multiple meals in each box. We serve them Monday, Wednesday, Fridays on the south side of the library from 1 to 2. And as much as we're able, we are trying to make it a little bit more fun by including craft packets or gently used books. Also, during non-pandemic time, we have a partnership with Mather Lifeways that allows us to provide really engaging monthly luncheons for seniors. And that's one of our most popular programs to address some of that social isolation. And we look forward to the time when we can bring it back.
Language and citizenship. As you can imagine, living in Skokie and working in Skokie, which is a very diverse and multicultural community where about 100 languages are spoken, we need to address these issues. And we are addressing those issues for many, many, many years. Even with the pandemic, we moved all our ESL services to the virtual space almost right away. So far, we have a very successful conversation group called ESL Cafe. ESL Cafe meets every Wednesday. It's going to be today in an hour from 12:30 to 2. It's a very friendly virtual space run by volunteers. The pandemic made available, and because it's a virtual space right now, made available and accessible for people, not necessarily who used to be ESL Cafe users before, but for the whole world, basically. Because it's all virtual, we have people from other countries. It's a very, very nice group run by volunteers. Online English lessons, historically, we do have a partnership with the Oakton Community College, and we used to provide space for the Oakton Community College in the building. So far right now, we don't have this luxury, of course, and we refer people for the Oakton Community College online classes. These classes are structured, they are run by teachers and volunteers. One-on-one ESL tutoring. It's a very popular service where we're matching an existing student with a volunteer for an hour of conversation per week. We have a group of volunteers and group of students, and now they're meeting in the virtual space. They used to be in the building, booking out study rooms. If you need more information about this service, all this information on our website, and I'm the contact person for all ESL related questions. Citizenship classes. Again, we used to have citizenship classes all year round on a weekly basis through the Oakton Community College. Right now, for this service, because they do have online citizenship classes going every week, so the same way. We really hope that as soon as the pandemic will be over, we'll get all our beautiful classes through the Oakton Community College back in the building. Again, all information related to ESL services are on our website under services, and please contact me with any questions you might have.
Okay, this is an area I'm not involved in, and after hearing Sabiha's presentation on career services, I'm thinking that we got to get you connected to Mike at the library if you're not already. But we have a career librarian, Michael Beeman, who works with other organizations to provide a regular networking group called Job Talk. We also often have individuals volunteer their time for in person, and I hope so now, also virtual resume and cover letter review, which can also be done by one of our databases or online resources called tutor.com. We subscribe and people can upload their resume and cover letter and go over it with someone who has that specialty. There are online courses called Gale courses where they're taught by college level instructors, and there is not college credit given, but at least a certificate given. And likewise, our staff members offer technology classes and a certificate when people take a number of Microsoft classes. So we do try to help people document their learning, because we believe that informal learning is just as important as formal.
As for technology, we do have, in a normal life, we do have many computers in the building, and you can check out a laptop. We have Chromebooks, we have hotspots you can check out. As of right now, of course, all those services are limited. So at the moment, we have limited number of computers in the building when people can come in and use them for 30 minutes. We do have hotspots for checkouts. Of course, the number is limited there, I'd say, in high demand. Historically, we work with the schools, with the ELL Parent Center, and some other organizations as a partnering with their, based on the hotspots need in the community. As of last week, we do have Wi-Fi service at the bookmobile stops, which means that anyone who need to have a pretty high-speed internet in certain area can come into the bookmobile during the hours. The bookmobile sits on the south parking lot by the library or in the community stops, and just use the Wi-Fi, which will be available in a pretty good distance around bookmobile. We hope that the service, which help some people to utilize the online resources we have. You can make individual technology appointments. Of course, we used to have the whole range of one-on-one technology appointments before the pandemic, but now you can still make your reservations one-on-one in the virtual space. We continue, yes, in the virtual space, and the same thing, you can reserve an appointment with the career counselors as well. We do have a lot of, always had many online workshops. They're all in the virtual, all conducted virtually currently. And there is a schedule which we have 2 months ahead on our website, pretty easy to use. And you can either limit all programs to their computer or technology programs at the library.
Thanks, Kate. So I realized we went a little bit over, so I'll close really quick, just to let you know that we can't wait till we can open more of the building to you, our partners. Organizations who are based in Skokie or members of the Skokie Chamber of Commerce are eligible to apply for library business cards for you and your staff. And that will also give you access to some of the many meeting rooms that we would have that you can use for your organization business, like staff meetings. And also just to refer back to, as we did at the beginning, like we could not do this without partnership. So we're always really seeking out strong collaborative partners where we can meet the community's needs together, learn together, and grow together. So if you are interested in connecting on a program on a one-time basis, or maybe a continuing offering joint services, or presenting together at a conference on shared issues, please get in touch with us. You'll see Skokie Library staff, not only at the LAN, but we're deeply involved in Skokie Cares, in Skokie Resilient Community Collaborative, and the Early Childhood Alliance. So please, we want to know what the aspirations of your clients are, and work together with you to strengthen the community overall. So thank you. Get in touch with us.
Holly, I don't know if you saw the question in the chat. It's asking, is an adult able to pick up meals for children under 18, or do the children need to be present?
An adult can pick up meals for children. Absolutely.
Also, are families able to pick up meals multiple days per week, or is there a limit on how many meals each family can pick up?
They can come as often as they need.
Great. Any other question for Holly or Kate? Is there a flyer for the meals?
There is, I believe there's a picture, a visual asset that you can email to your clients or post on your website. And I will share that with Abby as soon as I can. But we do have the time changes every once in a while, so I want to make sure that it's up to date.
Thank you.
It is posted on our events calendar at events.skokilibrary.info.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Holly and Kate. All right. Next up is Patrick with C4.
Hi.
Patrick, you are unmuted.
All right, fantastic. So yes, I am Patrick Dombrowski from C4. I also have Kelsey DePiro with us as well. My role has changed. A lot of you know me as the kind of the SAS person. I'm now the senior director at C4, and Kelsey will really be the point of contact as related to more administrative things with our SAS team. I appreciate being invited, and being the last person, I guess, to bring it home is both good and bad. Hopefully everyone doesn't have too much information fatigue. So Community Counseling Centers of Chicago, overall, we, our traditional community mental health center provide all ranges of services from traditional outpatient to ACT and community support team services. We definitely have a priority when possible of providing all of our services in the community, but obviously that is challenged right now. So we have transitioned largely to doing things through telehealth. We are also currently expanding in the west side of Chicago and are very excited about being more embedded in schools and really focusing on crisis prevention in addition to just crisis screening. Which does bring us to SAS, because I know, because of our location, our involvement with the Skokie community largely is through our crisis program. So we are the provider of SAS services for LAN41. And, we took over from Leiden about a year and a half ago. And hopefully you all have found us to be good, stewards to the community and responsive to the needs of Skokie. The SAS program really is designed at its core to determine whether a child would need to be hospitalized psychiatrically due to either grave disability, suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, or other dysregulation which would affect their ability to remain in the community. However, it is a lot larger than that, because we are committed to anyone that gets a SAS screening to follow up with them and either link them to services or engage them in kind of post-crisis event services ourselves. Traditionally with Chicago, it is largely we are the service provider, but we have found because of distance that more often than not we'll link them to the services that are identified as being closer to home. I would also encourage anyone that has youth or adult for that matter, because it's not just a program for kids at this point. The mobile crisis is also for adults. We can screen adults, but when you call the CARES line, often they do a criteria, and you have to meet a threshold in order to be sent to SAS. However, there's a lot of the work that we do that we are expanding and doing prevention as well. So if there is any kid that doesn't meet criteria through CARES, I would encourage anyone to reach out to us to discuss us doing a screening, whether that's a trauma screening, whether it's kind of a full biopsychosocial, to really get to the individual that needs intervention prior to them going into a crisis situation. I think the pandemic especially has put a spotlight, because there's a lot less touch points where individuals are seen, they're not in school as much, there's the need for mental health services has gone up, but really engagement in mental health services in some degree has gone down. So we are pivoting to really highlight and try to move into doing more outreach and engagement work. So all that to say, if there is anyone that you feel needs to be screened or assessed, or just if you need to consult with us about any student, adult, community member, we are available for those services. I want to leave a few minutes for questions, but I also know that Abby probably wants to close things out if people have things at 12. So before I sign off, though, I just want Kelsey to say hello so everyone knows who she is. Kelsey, are you with us?
I'll
And
have to unmute her. Hold on.
Absolutely. And feel free
There
to
we
add
go.
anything you missed.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for unmuting me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here, and I'm really excited to be able to work with everybody a bit more.
Great.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Well, I know Susan had asked a question, are there any new changes for SAS procedures? There is not. As I stated, you could either call the CARES line directly, or you could just contact C4 and ask to speak to a staff supervisor. Either way will really get you the services you need. We are really prioritizing doing everything remotely, and we have made the decision that it really doesn't make sense for these positions. You could, if we put everyone in the field going to hospital, and essentially they would just be vectors of potential spreading of COVID. So we are not saying that we won't do a face-to-face. There's definitely are times with somebody that has autism or that just is young and can't really engage by telephone or video, where we will do a status assessment in person, but we strongly are encouraging assessments remotely.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, when we're coordinating with schools for students that are doing remote learning, we still want to have as much contact as we can with the school counselor or with the person who's making that referral. And so that part of the SAS screening doesn't change either, that we're still working pretty closely with whoever has made the referral about the student, even if they are remote. We're still encouraging schools to call in those SAS assessments to the CARES line so that we can coordinate with the family, obviously speak to the student, and then also coordinate with the school system about the safety plan and about the outcome of those assessments, as well as to gather additional information that maybe the school has more access to than the guardians.
And Susan, I did see your other question. I think it's a very good question. I think it's one that has posed the challenge across the entire area we serve. Do you have advice for how schools should handle crisis situations while students are remote? I would like to follow up with you because it's 11:58, and I don't want to take too much time because I think that's a lot larger answer. Definitely, it does take a certain amount of coordination between, parent, the social worker, and then our SAS clinician. But I will follow up with you offline, or someone from our team.
Cool. Thank
So
you.
that is, unless there's other questions, that's all I have.
All right. Any last questions for Patrick or Kelsey?
Okay. Well, back to you then, Abby.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating, for being present, for presenting, attending. Thank you all so much. I know this is a little unique situation having to do this virtually instead of in person this year. So just as a reminder, I'm going to follow up via email with everyone who attended today, probably by the end of this week at least. And in that email, I will include the YouTube link to this recorded presentation, as well as some additional other organizations' presentations who could not present today. And then I will also include all of the organizations' electronic flyers that they've sent with me and they want to share with everyone who attended. And then I'm also going to include the 2020 LAN41 Human Services Directory that has a variety, comprehensive variety of resources in our community that you can share with families. Well, thank you so much for everyone for being here and participating, and have a good rest of your day.